Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates.
The Director of Communications at the NRM Secretariat. During the course of the show, I'll be introducing other guests. A very good evening to you and welcome aboard. Honorable Semuju, you're no show at Kololo, yet ordinarily you're part of the National Consultative Forum and perhaps the iPod. For clarity, are you part of the iPod?
There is confusion. Initially, parties represented in the parliament, initially, all of them were members of iPod, but there was a requirement for you to sign a memorandum of understanding, and iPod was voluntary. Because this whole idea of the inter-party dialogue at the beginning was being facilitated by the Netherlands Institute for Democracy. They were the ones who were funding activities of iPods and therefore activities of parties under iPod. So it was a private initiative being driven by civil society. But recently, a law was brought in Parliament controversially. That law initially had the names of the Honorable Asmani Rasari, who distanced himself, and someone was picked in the corridor. Nakut. She was picked from the corridor, I think, by the speaker. She came and moved it. The law was moved at a terrible speed. Eventually, the president assented to it, and it became a law, primarily dealing with one issue. Because in the Political Parties and Organizations Act, there is a provision of financing political parties by taxpayers, using taxpayers' money to finance political parties. But the qualification is that you must be represented in Parliament. So that was changed now. You must be a member of iPod and an active member.
To qualify for the money.
To qualify for the money. What remained now was for the minister responsible for iPod, in this case the Honorable Norbert Mao, Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, to gazette and present regulations that will give effect to that new change that was made on the law. So therefore, what was in Kololo today was a group of political parties that are under iPod, under a new arrangement. Because I was in the FDC, we took a decision that we will not participate in iPod because it had become meaningless.
FDC attended?
We left now, that is something else. So we are not in Kololo because in the interpretation
there was the president of FDC
in the
and the Secretary General.
In the interpretation
and the delegation.
The interpretation, I think, of Honorable Mao is that the new parties, even if you have members of parliament, you don't qualify. His definition is that parties qualify at the time people are swearing in. So the parties, I am told the Attorney General has a different interpretation, but the law usually in Uganda, the law is interpreted by politicians. So we were not invited to Kololo, we are not considered to be members of iPod, and we are not complaining.
What do you make of the complaints raised by the National Unity Platform about exclusion?
My understanding because I have read the letter, I have also had a NUP respond, and they say they are not owning it, they are not disowning it. But the complaint is that if you look at the definition of who the iPod members are, it means parties that are represented in Parliament. And I think everybody now who is represented in Parliament qualifies to be iPod. So the rider that you must be active maybe is going to be in the regulation, but that's also, it's not defined in the law, it's supposed to be defined by the regulation, but the regulations themselves haven't been adopted. What I heard the NRM Secretary General say is that they have contacted NUP severally and NUP is not responding. But it was just obvious where the law was being made that NUP was being targeted as an entity. You will not be receiving money. And even if NUP turned up at call, even if they signed the memorandum of understanding, they will put another qualification. I think now you can say you must shake hands with Mr. Museveni. So if you shake a hand, they say now you must kneel down. So the intention, because we did the intention, not what the law says and the regulation. The intention is that you parties that are giving us trouble, you will not get the money.
Yeah, but the party you're talking about is now coming out to complain.
Yeah, the complaint is that by law they are members of IPOD. That's how I understood them. By law they are members of IPOD. Why are you not inviting them to participate in IPOD activity? Because IPOD activities don't necessarily mean a meeting with Museveni and taking photographs. But these Chuan and Dombo and others have made IPOD look like a club where Museveni is the MD, so all the others must be someone. And I saw really people who are going to contest for president, the way they were being embarrassed. That next week you are picking nominations to contest against Museveni, but you are lined up to receive him like a school children. Because the last time we did that, we were in school. That's what they have done. So that level of embarrassment, you need people who are patient. I don't think I can subject myself to that. Next week you are picking nomination forms to compete with Museveni. But for you to qualify for IPOD money, they must line you up to receive Museveni, and then he comes, you're laughing. So really, and I salute the courage of those who accepted to be really embarrassed the way I saw in Kololo.
Honorable Dombo, you were at the summit in Kololo. What stood out for you and how significant was it in the journey, Uganda's democracy journey?
Simon, first and foremost, allow me to congratulate Honorable Norbert Mao because he has taken over the leadership of the IPOD summit. And this sounds beautiful because when he promised the members of the opposition that he was going to negotiate for a transition, some people thought it was a joke. But this is a major part of it.
Museveni has handed over power.
He has handed over the leadership of IPOD, where President Museveni has been the leader for a very long. He has been the longest serving summit chair. And now Norbert Mao takes over. Now, when Norbert takes over, it comes with it its own challenges. There are things he has been alluding to, referring to President Museveni in the chair of the summit. Now he's the chair, and he's a minister in government, and he's at a vintage position to either implement, accelerate the implementation, or to ensure that certain things happen. So that was a very important thing that we saw for the first time. The second one, not the first time, but for today, I mean since the time Mao promised, because the summit has taken about 4 years without sitting. And so we congratulate him. The second thing we want to, which came out notably, is that people who would otherwise refer to one another from their respective press conferences that have been holding, met for the first time. They interacted face to face. They did not divulge all the details that transpired in the summit while they were meeting, but at least that was a good gesture. And to me, this one augurs well with what the Katikiro of Buganda has been telling the leaders. He made the leaders of NUP and told them to go and talk to one another. If you have challenges, use us. We are here. Why should people be babysitted? When they know in Parliament where they want to meet, they are going to talk, and they'll talk about things that affect Ugandans. So, to see brothers seated together, discussing affairs of the country, it's a good gesture that can be a foundation upon which better and future cooperation and discussion of politicians can be done.
Did the presence of Nandala Mafabi breathe fresh air in IPOD? Because he's for a while been critical. Now he's been in the summit.
First of all, to all Ugandans, the statements that were made by those people. I don't know why. At one time I listened attentively to listen to Ndala Mafavi's statement, only to remember later that he's not part of the summit, that he's part of the council of the Secretary Generals. And I would have loved to hear in detail his feelings and what he feels, the vision he feels for Uganda. Now that he's going to be a presidential candidate, we shall wait for it. And let me hope that when that time comes, the IPOD will too organize perhaps a presidential debate, so that some of the issues which are coming up, you saw Honorable from UPC, Honorable Akena, delving into policy issues. And the president almost sent a barb, but he later remembered that this was supposed to be a dialogue. You are not supposed to remind people why UPC had failed in the past, because that was not the intention. So, on Ndala Mafavi, what he did is good for the people.
And Amuriat?
Even Amuriat, what they have done is good for the people of Uganda. I want to encourage my brothers, Honorable Semuju, that not necessarily being compelled by the law, people to meet together and discuss issues. Even when you go to the holy books, either the Bible says how it is so pleasing and good for brethren to meet together and talk about issues that concern them. I'm very sure even the Quran should be having some verses talking about people.
Honorable Chiwanda, I want to get to you. There is a lot of confusion. Parties like the National Inter-Platform, which are members of the NCF, are now complaining of being left out in the IPOD arrangement. Is there a sense that National Consultative Forum and IPOD are at loggerheads?
First of all, I can tell the viewers what is National Consultative Forum. National Consultative Forum, it is the forum that brings all registered political parties together, registered. In that forum, we are now 27. The youngest being PFF now, because the rest of the parties that people have been hearing, like DF, they were just a transfer of name. They did not go into the hassle of registering new parties necessarily. We've been 26, now we are 27. At the National Consultative Forum, we are now 30 members because 27, each member is represented by one person. The Attorney General is a member of the National Consultative Forum, the Chairman National Electoral Commission, and the Secretary of Electoral Commission. That makes it a 30 membership of the National Consultative Forum. The National Consultative, as per the new law, has two sections. It has a section of the parties represented in Parliament. That is, those are the parties that are under IPOD. And the parties that are not, they are not represented in Parliament. And so the two branches forms the apex of the new, the two bodies. That's why you have the National Consultative Forum. At the National Consultative Forum, Noop is the vice chairperson of the National Consultative Forum. Today, IPOD, there was a coincidence because, first of all, as NCF, we had a workshop at Sheraton Hotel. It was covered live by NBS here. And we are working very well. Honorable Katana Benjamin is my vice chairperson. Today was chairing the session. I presented a paper. And because when I hear about this, I don't really understand. Because first of all, yesterday I talked to Norbert Mao about the regulations. Where are the regulations? Because since the Nakut law, there are new regulations. How IPOD is now, of course, all parties have been together, but now, before the May Nakut law, IPOD was like a WhatsApp group. It was an NGO. It had no legal backing at all. It was like they could have a Buganda parliamentary caucus. That was it. So, but by the amendment of the Political Parties and Organizations Act in May by Nakut, now it made IPOD a legal entity and the state, and of course it...
Operating autonomously.
Yes. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Of course, we don't have the regulations yet, but when you read the law, IPOD is part of the National Consultative Forum.
You are part of the framers of this. Can you help clear the ambiguity over this?
The ambiguity was supposed to be cleared by the regulations. But like many things in Uganda, I hear even this is being negotiated. You've got to go back to Museveni to tell him Mbidde should not get the money. He says, how would we put that in a regulation? You say, they must salute me when we meet somewhere. So the regulation themselves have taken long to come. First, they must establish whether parties like ours, which is new but has MPs, qualify or does not. That is not a matter of the law, because I'm told the Attorney General has a different opinion, the Honorable Norbert Mao, Minister of Justice, has a different opinion. So ordinarily there should be no ambiguity, but I've told you the intention of the law and the interpretation are two different things. So the ones who made the law intended to achieve something, and they will work so hard to ensure that they achieve it.
Thank you. What do you make of NUP's grievance about being excluded?
First of all, I wouldn't think that NUP should be aggrieved of anything. Because as of now, no political party has received the money yet. The money has been put
no,
under...
they're not talking about the money.
Yeah, the
they're
money for the...
about exclusion from meetings.
Of course, the exclusion was about so much about finances, you know, because when you read the letter...
But in their letter,
yes,
they are saying they hear other members of IPOD are discussing the regulations, and they are not invited and party to that discussion.
First of all, there are two things that is actually very pertinent on the new law, Simon. One, the law was not discussed. Wasn't consulted. There was no consultation, either to IPOD or to NCF. The law came within 4 days, the law was passed. Now, the regulations, when do we operationalize the law? And how is it going to be operationalized? NUP, the only vehicle that can, according to the new law, the only vehicle that can carry them to National Consultative Forum is through IPOD. But before, any party was a member. But as the new law is, the only way you can come to National Consultative Forum is either through IPOD or through the non-represented parties. So now, probably, through the regulations, where even other political parties have not discussed, when I talked to the Honorable Dr. Honorable Mao was saying that the regulations will be in Parliament this week, end of this week, or beginning of next week.
There is no Parliament next week.
But that, of course, Parliament, the regulation can be received and it can be discussed later when Parliament resumes. But now, Simon, to me, the whole thing is about the regulation. Because the law says, if NUP is to be admitted under National Consultative Forum, the only vehicle that they can use, because they are in Parliament, it is through the IPOD. But also, because I was asking Honorable Ibrahim here, and even other members who already have members of Parliament.
So you are also in the dark about what is happening.
That's true. That is true.
Thanks.
So, no. Finally, I was also asking the parties that already now have members of Parliament, because the law says if you have a member of Parliament, then you qualify to be an IPOD member. So there are about 3 parties that have not, about 3 or 4 that do not even attend Kololo today. PFF has members of Parliament. DF has members of Parliament. So I don't know whether that you can only be qualified probably after elections if the cross of the floor is not allowed. So the whole thing is about the regulations. Until when regulations are out, we are not yet clear as
Thank you. Honorable Mbidde, it's not...
Is that supposed to be sorted out through the dialogue that is supposed to be?
And negotiate it.
Honorable Mbidde,
Yes.
DP is now in the seat running the IPOD summit. It's coming at a time where Honorable Norbert Mao announced that there is a bloc now that is going to negotiate the transition. Could this be the moment?
Which transition, particularly? Because for me, I think I do not want to be involved in a debate that I feel the Constitution already sorted. The Constitution gives details of how a transition is achieved from one president to another in the event of an election or death.
So what was Mao vending?
I don't know, I have not heard. But what we need to look at,
It is to be helped.
what we need to look
Your
at,
president said elections will not be the ones delivering
The transition.
transition. He said
of course,
actually,
of course. That one even to...
If you could hold it there, I might need to play the video for you, for your correct
Okay.
interpretation.
Although I had
Let's
picked
listen. Let's listen.
For blocks. There is one block has NRM, has DP, that group has UPC, that group has FDC, that group has DF. You can call it a group of 5. I am the one telling you. That is a big block, and it is the biggest block. You'll have President Museveni, you'll have Norbert Mao, you'll have Mpuga seated there, you'll have Nandala Mafabi, you'll have Jimmy Akena, probably you'll have Bidandi Sali's group, it will probably have Asuman Basalirwa, you will also have MK and his group also there. Forget about the Bubadi. In the Bubadi, people talk on TV, but now me, I'm telling you that that's a group of 5. Now, the other group that does not believe in cooperation, we call them regime change fundamentalists. We call them the Agudde group. That group is very poisonous. They have Busagwa. And there's need to remove the poison from their politics. Because the poison in their politics means they cannot be trusted with power. Power is not for everyone. That's why I said the transition will not be based on elections. These things are already happening in the rooms which matter. And those rooms are not your TV studios. Those TV studios are just like loudspeakers. The loudspeaker does not speak itself.
Is the Messiah here now?
First of all, if you want to give a clear analysis of that statement, I think you have got to be analytical enough. You look at what first of all, is the law looking like, the electoral law, which was never amended. That one of the candidates on the ballot paper has appointed persons to count the votes. That he has stayed for long in power is extremely indicative that he doesn't intend to go. So if he has appointed persons to definitely announce the results, different from the manner in which, for example, electoral commission is formed in Mozambique, is formed in Namibia, is formed in Senegal, is formed in Ghana. For me, if you told me that then you expect a transition emanating from elections where the votes have been counted by that very team, is to inform me that you have gone to fetch water using a basket and I sit down and wait for it. So for me, I know that statement is correct. Elections, these elections we are going for cannot definitely lead to a transition. Unless, obviously, you want the elections to lead to the transition in a manner that the 1980 elections did. But if you are talking of the result, the actual results.
Okay, Mao has now ascended to the big seat as chair of summit.
Yes.
Do you think he's the one running the show behind the scenes? And indeed, are you aware of anything happening behind the scenes when it comes to negotiations?
Yeah, he's going to be heading a summit of political parties. Political parties per se, in my opinion, are not running the scene. They are actually not the ones running the business of state. Here, we are run in a manner that you can refer to as neo-patrimonialism. And that is why you see that there is a section of political parties, PFF and NUP, allegedly that don't even want to associate with anything that is headed For example, where the president of the Republic of Uganda or his political party are sitting. Why? Because there is an actual death of institutions and there is some personalization of the politics. Where of course, where the president is the high priest celebrating the mass. He has handed over a catechism to all of those people that are serving him with a simplified and easily graspable message that should be given to everybody. So other political parties that are themselves tainted with extreme hubris and profundity, they want to stay a bit away. They don't even want to be seen closer to where anybody is negotiating or speaking about anything in close proximity with the NRM. So it is a cause and effect principle, Simon. I can tell you, for me, I am even surprised that NUP are saying they have been closed out. Me, I thought they opted out. When I was reading the newspapers, I thought they had actually opted out. But now that they are saying they are being closed out, that should be handled. Number two, there are legal issues. There are very serious legal issues that have to be provided. I don't know why Parliament is not addressing it. The laws of Uganda, the Constitution, the Parliamentary Elections Act, give details on how somebody becomes a member of Parliament. Now, is crossing from one party to another making you a new member of Parliament? If you retain that membership, does it extinguish the sponsorship you obtained from a party that you left? What are the legal issues? Those issues can't be solved by mere regulations. And for me, I think there must be a statutory detail
At the beginning,
that has to be
Honorable
given.
Mbidde, at the beginning of the week, when Mao made that that revelation that there is a block of 5 key players, was he making a prophecy of what would come? Was he making a prophecy?
My understanding is different. I think what he meant, persons that have now opened up their hearts for a possibility of dialogue, including those 5 sections of persons that he talked about, by way of political parties. And those that have remained refractory are the 2 that he mentioned, the PFF and NUP. Completely refractory, that if NRM wrote to them a letter, probably they wouldn't reply. I think for me that is what he meant. Now, the possibility of dialogue commences from sections of entities. It can commence from political parties. They can, of course, generate a document. As to whether that document will be accepted by NRM, it is also under question. Or whether it would be followed, it is also under question.
Yeah, but
there must be a beginning.
What is equally interesting is the reaction that came from the Mpuga's Democratic Front. They denounced him. You need to take a listening to what they actually said. Honorable Mpuga came out bluntly to tell Mao off. Let's play the video.
I think the only thing correct about Honorable Mao is his name. We all know him. He wants attention. He wants to be seen to be doing something all the time. But you see, when I saw it, I was like, that's vintage Mao. First of all, he says it is sick, and then he's speaking about it in public. So then you ask, so what is correct about him? It must only be his name. We all know him. He loves attention. And unfortunately for him, over the last couple of years, he's lost attention because he was given a chance to lead a vibrant party. And he killed it at the altar of personal expediency. And therefore, is a no-show. So I'm not going to escort him to the graveyard of the DP, where he wants us to direct the ghost through him. So I know Mao. I don't want to take what he said seriously. He knows what he's saying. And if he needs company in his isolation, he must be suffering isolation. The DF is not good company for him. He needs to look around for better company. The DF has been consistent on what would constitute the transition. The transition is not about the DF. The transition will require legal reform. And that reform will require all actors including those you rather not sit with because they are actors in this country.
I don't know whether that is in opposition.
He has distanced DF
He sounded
from
closer.
the bloc.
He actually sounded closer to what Mao stated, in my opinion. If you talk about dialogue, which in your opinion culminates into a transition, who are you going to talk to?
No, Mao talked about a bloc where DF has come out. Initially, there was a press conference during the course of the day where the spokesperson denied everything. Now, the president himself of DF is coming to...
A bloc means a group of parties. It is like if somebody told you that is an Zanzibar, Pemba, Mafia, an archipelago. That would mean it's a group of islands. It doesn't mean they are together, but it's a group. So in my opinion, it is a matter of understanding the English language.
The right questions. The Honorable Mbidde has appeared on this. He has appeared on this show and said the memorandum they, as DP, signed with NRM had been thrown through the window. That things were not working. Sorry, I am not taking over your responsibility, but I want I want to benefit from the Honorable Mbidde, who is part of DP, whether actually there is a discussion about the transition as the Honorable Mao claims. Because if you see there is a group, whether they are not together, whether they are together, but it would be very good thing to hear by all Ugandans that actually you guys are involved in a discussion for a transition.
You see, my late father once told me that he found a man climbing a mango tree. And when he was asked what he was looking for, he said he was looking for oranges. But that when he told him that you cannot find oranges on a mango tree, he told him that is why I'm coming down. I have a problem with our own politicians. If you do not choose war, then you have chosen politics. If you don't choose elections, then you must choose dialogue. So what else are you going to do? There is no middle line.
I don't think you're giving us an answer to this.
Yeah, because you are not the one giving it.
We are looking
I thought you would rely on the conclusion to indicate that I have not given you an answer. Because if you want a set of questions, produce them, I answer a multiplicity, choreographed in a chronology, in a seriatim, as you would want them to be answered. But one, I do not know of the talks that are ongoing. That is number one. That is my answer. Two, I have listened to the party president insinuating that they are. And for me, I have no reason to disbelieve him.
You're the deputy
because I am the deputy. Yes. I have not been assigned any task relating to that. But I am comfortable.
You're completely oblivious of that block.
The word oblivious would be a misconception. You know, the role of a vice president is to be assigned roles that have not been definitely handled by your main man. In my opinion, since he's still young, he's handling what he has not yet assigned. But I do not yet have cause to disbelieve him. That is number one. Number two.
So what Mao is saying is his business, purely.
No.
Not the DP position.
But I have told you, I have no cause to disbelieve him. Simon, then why would that now be?
He's in agreement with whatever that is saying.
Mbidde is not a member of the summit.
I am not.
And there is a reason why there is a summit and there is a council of secretaries.
No, we're not talking about the summit. No. We are talking about
what we are going to
Mao's statement.
Yeah,
Mao said there is a block where DP and other players are.
That's what I'm telling you, that at summit level, there are things that are talked at summit level where he isn't a member.
You see, the Honorable Mao said the debate on transition is happening in some rooms. And I had
And he
Of a
mentioned...
summit level.
No. It's not about iPod.
I had thought that even if he has not assigned the Honorable Mbidde any role in those talks, that DP as an institution would know, or at least the Honorable Mbidde will give him a company when they are going to discuss such a very serious matter.
You know, when I was when I had just arrived here, you stated things to do with the possibility of a transition that happened at iPod. In my opinion, that would be a precursor. It would be indicative. It is prognostic of what he was talking about. That probably in the future, that is what we are going to enjoy. But I think let us be very serious on this matter. There are two types of clusters of politicians. There is a cluster that believes you need the participation of the ruling government in order for a transition to be realized. Now that is where we lie. Because we believe they can put into...
That is the block.
It's okay.
Pitting one against the toxic ones, the toxic three.
So, Simon, let me conclude. Now, these that believe that we must actualize a transition through dialogue are this cluster. But there is a cluster that believes...
DF has distanced itself.
That believes what?
No, DF, I don't know what to believe about them, because I don't think they have been premised on a firm ground that they can speak and get believed as that early.
Yeah, but...
So, but
your boss is disingenuous. He comes out to claim, or rather to...
And this is what I'm explaining. There is a status of politicians. I can call them political clusters. You can call them political parties that believe through dialogue we can achieve a transition. But there is a cluster of political parties that believe that the incumbent is so dictatorial, so unfaithfulness, so tainted with unfaithfulness. He's actually so perfidious and mendacious that the only thing they can do is to win an election he has organized. So for me, I don't know. They have also got their own justifications. But I don't subscribe to that idea. Neither does Mao. Because if somebody is disingenuous in terms of dialogue and actuating a transition, but you go home and believe that that person is so disingenuous to the extent that you organize an election and you win it. For me, I do not know.
But
there are two things I want you to know.
I want us to take
Simon, what Honorable Mbidde is saying is actually a very wrong assertion to my political party. You cannot tell me.
Mbidde is not talking about your political
party. Yes.
No, he's talking about someone, not your party.
Yes, because I know that one is my flag bearer and the chairman of my party. Because the way Honorable Mbidde is putting it, it's like President Museveni is organizing an election, which already the results are already known. You know, it's like no participation at all. And I don't think that's a very good statement to me.
Well,
that's not. Because
that's the opinion.
In this election, people participate, people compete. And actually, my president, my flag bearer goes look for the vote. The first time when multi-party politics, Simon, you know, won by 67%. The second time won by 80%. The third time we won by less than, actually here in Central Region, won by only 34%. So I don't think it's so.
The 2021 elections, you may not really, that template of a discussion cannot apply. Because we had a candidate that had been curtailed from almost 13 districts. You are not allowed to go there. We have seen there is COVID. We had candidates. Dr. Besigye was in and out of prison at a time when he was actually competing for president. I am not even talking about this recent one. So that template of a discussion where everybody has the freedoms to campaign against him may not apply 100%.
Well, I want us to take a version break.
My view, finally, Simon, is for us, we still believe, and we are all believers in President Museveni. Both those who are waiting for his election in order to win it, and us who are saying there must be dialogue for amendment of laws in order for for us to actualize the transition. We are all believers, and nobody should be told.
Thank you. Honorable Semuju, as we take a very short break, how do you feel being clustered in the other block? It's now 5 against the 3 toxic ones, the Kabadi.
You see, the discussion, and I hope there are discussions between the Democratic Party and other members of the cluster within 7. I hope there are discussions.
The bloc.
2016, after elections that were cheated, the Elders Forum at that time headed by Justice Ogola, the Situation Room, a group of distinguished African women who had helped facilitate a dialogue in Liberia, the Interreligious Council, the 3 of them contacted Dr. Resije, who at that time had been under house arrest, and again contacted Museveni. In the process, I think they got sponsorship from either Norway or Sweden to facilitate a dialogue. I was on the committee of the FDC. The committee of President Museveni was headed by Dr. Ruhakana Rugonda. In many of those meetings, I suggested, because Museveni was demanding for a physical contact, and I said, knowing Museveni, first of all, let us generate the issues in a document, send it to him, let him respond. Then he will know he's serious about it. So for nearly 6 months, we were involved in a dialogue. We had even accepted, even Museveni had accepted that this dialogue is chaired by former Tanzanian president, the late Mukasa. Because our initial suggestion was the former UN Secretary General, who unfortunately is also dead. So there was some dialogue with the template, with the issues thrust out properly and accepted. But Museveni kept demanding that he wants to meet Besigye. He says, I need to meet Besigye, then these other things are smaller things, they can be. And I told them this man must be looking for a photo opportunity. Because the issues that are afflicting the country, these issues have nothing to do with Besigye. So along the way, I think he was fearing the stability of the country after that election. So the moment he gained stability, Museveni took off, he never came back.
So how was that dialogue conducted without meeting?
The Situation Room mainly and the Elders Forum were the ones moving between Kasangati and wherever Museveni was.
Then that wasn't a dialogue yet.
With the document. Document doesn't, I mean, dialogue doesn't mean physical meeting, Honorable Dong.
No, it means a conversation.
Yes, that conversation was on issues. We raised the issues, they responded. But the physical meeting was
So through couriers.
We'll
take a break.
The physical meeting was supposed to have taken place when Mukasa arrived. We were expecting Mukasa to arrive here. Towards that physical meeting of Mukasa is when Museveni took off. So I don't know at what stage the Honorable Mbidde and DP are, but at least for us we had reached. So it's not fair to say that this group, because you're asking me about being clustered, that for us we are so unreasonable that we think the NRA must not play a part. In fact, we think they must play a part, but they must not be deceptive. That they must keep lying to everybody. They say, when there is nothing.
Well, is